Namaste. It's cold this morning. So welcome to the 5th Sutra. And this is the beginning of a group of sutras, of 7 sutras actually, called the Īkshatyadyadhikaranam. Got that? This is about thinking or creative imagination of the Supreme, Brahman. So why is this a group considered one topic, Adhikaranam? Because it talks about the will of the Supreme to become many. And he certainly has, hasn't he? So the Supreme has become many. And in the process, creating a whole world, a whole universe, creation, many worlds actually. And this is so wonderful, but how does it happen? And so there are many different branches of philosophy, Vedic philosophy, based on the same Vedas, and they come to extremely opposite conclusions. So the Shaktas believe one thing, and the Sankhyas believe something else, and the Purva Mimamsas believe yet another thing, and so on and so forth. But what do the original sources actually say? They say that the Supreme, Brahman, Ikshateh, this is a funny word, Ikshateh. It's usually translated as he saw, or he created, or he visualized or imagined. Ikshateh can mean many things, but really at the root it means to see. The name of the sun god is Ikshvaku, which any Japanese child would recognize. It means, I see you. So this whole topic is called Ikshatyadyadhikaranam. Ikshatyadyadhikaranam, because it's about the thinking of the Supreme. And the first mantra is Ikshaternasabdam. Ikshaternasabdam means, Ikshata means seen or considered or imagined or thought over, visualized or what have you. Not. Shabdam, in the Shabda, the original 4 Vedas and Upaniṣads. So the theory of the materialists, all of the materialists, is that somehow or other a new substance is generated or created or emanated or comes into being somehow or other. And this substance is called matter. And this matter is virtually eternal. And it just passes from one form into another according to energy passing through it. So if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. Hardly used. There is no actual proof for the so-called objective universe. Everything that we can know, everything that we can experience comes through our senses, including the output of any measuring devices that we might create. So our senses are actually the gateways through which we experience the whole world, even our own mind. Therefore, we cannot really prove that the world exists because we don't experience it directly. The only part of the world that we do experience directly is what we are. A sentient being. What do we experience? We experience our own sentience, our own being aware as what we are. So when we come to this portal or this question, really it's an opening, huh? It's an opportunity, this question. How does the Supreme create the creation? Almost everybody goes wrong in the beginning by assuming the existence of an objective world, an unprovable proposition. In every system of philosophy, but especially now with quantum mechanics, the Schrodinger's cat is either in or out of the bag. Think about that for a minute. So, if that's the case, that finally now Western science agrees that the world is completely virtual, then why are we mucking around with a 19th century mechanistic, reductionistic viewpoint? Because that's how we were trained in school by incompetent idiots. We have to let go of that. It's done, man. It's passé. It was passé with Einstein already. And then with Heisenberg and the gang at Bonn, forget about it. There is no there. There is only what we experience. That's all we have to go on. And what do we experience? Every night when we go to sleep, the whole world disappears. And the scriptures say that's because when God sleeps, all the worlds go into like suspended animation. See, this is talking about experience. This is talking about reality. Verifiable, hard, cold reality. Actually, I think it's pretty cool. So what really happens is Ikshateh, the Supreme, thinks over or considers or envisions or imagines or projects the existence. He says, let me become many. And he has, hasn't he? Now we have to deal with it. But actually, this is just an appearance. It's just an illusion. See, the quality inherent in the Supreme of Maya allows him to create the appearance or the illusion of something just by thinking about it or just by dreaming about it. He doesn't have to change. He doesn't have to even turn over in his sleep. He can dream anything. And for us who are part of it, part of this dream, it seems absolutely real, doesn't it? But it's all just a dream. And it's all going to be over someday. So don't get attached to any of it because it's all constantly changing. And because it's a dream, like in dreams, crazy stuff can happen. And it does all the time, doesn't it? We have our story. What we want the world to believe, we are, and it is. But then the world has its own version. So not to take it all so serious, especially one's own mind. Don't take your own mind serious. Boy, you're in trouble. But look at what actually happens. What actually happens is we wake up in the morning and bring a whole world into existence. isn't it? So actually everybody knows this, but it's so hard for them to explain because they have no language for it. They have no context for it. And the thing about Advaita, the thing about Vedanta that is so valuable is that it creates a background, a context for the discussion of these things. How did God create the world? Well, he didn't. Why are you assuming that God created anything when all God has to do is imagine or dream? See, the absolute is qualitatively similar to each and every one of us. Just like we dream when we go to sleep at night and we create whole artificial virtual worlds. So the same thing happens on a bigger scale and we get caught up in it. And to us, it's reality. So just like a programmer could program a video game that has a whole world, a whole imagined, artificial, simulated, or whatever, existence with its own physics and chemistry and rules and karma and everything. Huh? I mean, they try to do this, don't they? They try to create immersive artificial worlds for gaming. But what about these games? They're just totally imagination, right? As soon as you turn the computer off, the whole thing is gone. Well, the same thing happens when you go to sleep and wake up. And when we pass from one state of consciousness to another, we have to pass through the self, because the self is the one having the experience. It's like changing the channel, you know? You have to pick up the remote. You have to pick up the power that changes the channel, that changes the state of consciousness. And that's only the self, because who is this consciousness happening to? And even we can go beyond consciousness. This is the mature stage of meditation. When we choose to ignore consciousness, we should just shut the door. And we say, no, I'm interested in the within. I want to see what's happening in there. And I want to spend a good amount of time in there, looking around, mucking about, trying things. Huh? I mean, you can only go crazy, right? Try something. Think differently. Think different. And expose yourself to all kinds of ideas of thinkers of the past, especially Vedanta. Vedanta is so valuable because it brings up all the questions. And so where all the materialists go wrong, and where today's neo-Advaitins go wrong on the same count, is that they take shelter of modern science. They say science explains the world. But science is just a theory. It's a story that somebody tells in a classroom full of bored students. That's all it is. None of it can be proved. None of it will ever be proved, because it's a story about something that happened so long ago, almost all traces of it are erased, except today's existence, which is what we actually observe. So anybody can tell a story, about their past. Anybody can make up anything. It's all right. If you need those kind of stories to get through the day, I suppose you have to believe in something. But what we actually experience every day is that we touch upon the universal self when we pass from one state of consciousness to another. And that, my friends, is what I'd like you to meditate on and observe in yourselves. Om Tat Sat. I'm going to knock this tablet over here. Hari Hari Om. Hari Om.